Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Breast Cancer Physio. I'm your host Jen McKenzie, lymphedema physiotherapist and ESSA accredited exercise physiologist. I firstly wanted to say thank you so much to Breast Cancer Now, which is a breast cancer charity in the UK that I recently did a webinar with all of their breast care nurses. It was an absolutely fantastic experience for me, and I just want to shout out to Jane Murphy and Addie Mitchell for reaching out to me through this channel and organising that. So I'm really excited to be talking with those ladies and gents again very soon. So I'll keep you posted on next events with those guys. The other thing I wanted to quickly mention was that in the last video I filmed, which was can I wear underwire bras after lumpectomy, I was having an interesting conversation with my colleague Tracy G from Tracy G Lingerie Prosthetics, who's got a lingerie prosthetics store just around the corner from my clinic on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, and we had an interesting conversation about the fact that what I left out of that video was the fact that one of the reasons underwires can be a big problem for women after lumpectomy radiation is that the underwire can push straight into your axillary lymph node dissection scar or your sentinel node biopsy scar, and that's a really good point. So I'd like to shout out to Tracy Grills for bringing that to my attention, because I actually forgot to put that into the video. So that's a really annoying point about underwires, is that they seem to land straight on the end of that scar and annoy the hell out of it. So check out that video if you are interested in finding out why underwires can be problematic after lumpectomy and radiation. Okay, so in this video, this is improving your range of motion after breast cancer part 2, and today I'm going to be walking you through how to use a pulley. So what I've got in my hand here is a shoulder pulley. I'm going to leave a link in the description bar below as to where you can purchase these from. They're really cheap. You can easily use them at home, and they're a really good tool to help get your shoulder moving after breast cancer. So the first thing I want to talk about is when we use a shoulder pulley, and that's generally when your shoulder is getting quite stiff 4 weeks or more after your shoulder operation. Sorry, after your breast cancer surgery, I should say. So ironically, if you've had shoulder surgery, this is probably a tool you can actually use. So after your breast cancer surgery, we just need to be cautious that for the first 4 weeks, you've got scar tissue healing. So you really wouldn't want to be going too hardcore on this sort of apparatus in that first 4 weeks, just because you could pop stitches, you could disrupt the healing process. So wait at least 4 weeks. If your shoulder is showing signs of restriction, stiffness, after 4 weeks, then this is something you can definitely use. Now, it's not a magic bullet, so I would still look to engage with a physiotherapist, massage therapist. I would still look to be using a tennis ball. I've got another video I recently posted, which was the part 1 of improving your range of motion after breast cancer, and that's all about how you can use a tennis ball to help soften the tissue around your shoulder. So use this device in conjunction with other treatment modalities. It won't fix every problem. Okay, so let me just demonstrate how we use the pulley first. So this particular pulley is one that I've just hooked onto a hook on my wall. This pulley is also one that you can hook over the top of a door and close the door, and then that stabilizes the pulley. There's a whole heap of different pulleys on the market. I'll try to put up a few varieties in the link in the description bar so you can have your choice of pulleys, but essentially they shouldn't be too expensive, and it does work on a pulley system. Now, what we do is I'm sitting down, obviously, to do this exercise. You can stand to do the exercise. I've got one hand on each handle. The other thing to note is you can actually manipulate the length of the pulley. So this pulley, you can pull the cord through, and you can shift the length of the lever. Now, a little note here to say you can actually do this in standing, but sometimes if you do it in standing, you may run out of range. So you might actually limit your ability to pull very far. So I'm going to face the pulley, and I'm going to hold, like I said, either handle. I'm actually going to put my knees together because it's a little bit easier to get the pulley down beside you if you can reach that far. So say as an example, I've got a stiff right shoulder. My left hand is going to be doing more of the work. So I'm really just going to hang on to the right handle and allow the left hand to do most of the work, okay? So this is what's called improving your passive range of motion. So rather than me, say, trying to lift a stiff right shoulder against gravity and use all the muscles in that shoulder, if I get my left hand to pull my right shoulder up, that's called working on your passive range of motion. So it's improving the ability of the shoulder to move without putting too much physical stress through it. So I'm just going to pull my left hand down and allow my right shoulder to lift up, okay? So I'm not really trying to work my right shoulder too hard, and then I'm going to come back to the middle. So it's literally that's basically it. So you're only going to the point as well where you can tolerate your pain. So if you're getting to here and then you think, oh, yeah, I'm starting to feel that a little bit in the shoulder, that's probably when you should start to come back down a little bit. You can push it a little bit further, but we really don't want people pushing into, like, you know, severe pain or moderately high pain. You really want to make sure this is a tolerable exercise. The interesting thing with pulleys is that when you're doing things like pulleys or you're in a swimming pool, you end up doing a hell of a lot more work on your limb than if you're just to lift it up and down against gravity. So just be cautious of the fact that you can end up making your arm a bit sore if you do too much on this in too little space. So just make sure that you're going to tolerance limits and then slowly coming back down. So that's how you use the pulley. Duration wise, I would recommend that you probably stick to around 3 to 4 minutes as a maximum on this, and you could do this up to, say, 3 times a day if you've got a really stiff shoulder. You don't have to do it 3 times a day, but that's probably where I would max out at. And as far as 3 to 4 minutes is concerned, if you have got a very sore shoulder, you may even want to start with 1 minute or 30 seconds. You know, it doesn't really matter. It's really where you can tolerate the amount of work for your shoulder in one hit. What we want to avoid is making your arm really, really sore after any sort of exercise that we're prescribing. You know, if it's aching for half an hour or more after the exercise is performed, then that's probably pushing it a little bit too far. Let's talk about when not to use a pulley. So as I said at the start of this video, we want to make sure that you're using the pulley probably as a minimum 4 weeks after your surgery has been performed, and probably not before, to allow stitching and to heal and wounds to heal. So the other times you might not use a pulley is if you've been diagnosed with particular shoulder conditions. So as an example, I've done another video called Why Does My Shoulder Hurt? That's all about shoulder bursitis. So go and have a look at that if you're suspicious that you may have a condition that is beyond just a stiff shoulder after breast cancer. Shoulder bursitis is insanely common, guys, after breast cancer. I cannot believe how often I am catching women in my clinic who have had breast cancer and then also have developed shoulder bursitis. So just go and have a look at that video, because that might be of interest to people who have a chronically sore shoulder following their breast cancer. So as an example, if you had bursitis, a shoulder pulley may actually aggravate your shoulder. So this again is where these videos are fantastic, but one of the best things you can do as an individual is go and have a chat with your medical team, go and have a chat with a local physiotherapist. If you don't have access to one, jump on Zoom appointments, jump on virtual appointments and have a chat, because everyone's individual circumstances are different and not all things are going to apply blanket wise to the whole population. So if you're not sure, get in touch with your medical team and have a chat with them about whether a pulley is an appropriate device to use. Certainly in the case of bursitis, I would say don't use it. In the case of frozen shoulder though, I would say a pulley is not a bad idea. At the end of the day, whatever treatment technique we choose to use with our patients has to be tolerable. It has to be within their tolerance limits, I should say, but it also has to, and within tolerance, we have to make sure that you're not aching for hours on end after the exercise is performed. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you're having a fantastic week wherever you are and that you've gained some great information on improving your range of motion after breast cancer from this pulley video. If you have any questions regarding pulleys, then please leave a comment in the section below, and remember to like, subscribe and comment on this video. I'll see you guys next week here again on Tuesday. I'm Jen McKenzie, the breast cancer physio. See you next time.